So that's essentially what the finished product will look like. And then I can just pop those right out. Okay, this is the moment of truth. This is the loft bed project that I've been working on for my daughter. I'm getting ready to put the top on and the side walls, and it'll be done. Other than building a ladder, I still have that to do. So she might have a bed in it and not be able to get in it, but it's going to be done. That wasn't good. These clamps come in really handy. Right now they're right angle clamps because I have them tightened down at 90 degrees, but they are adjustable to any angle. And if you've ever had to assemble anything where you needed it clamped in a certain position, this comes in very, very handy, unless you have 3 hands. Now I know it's not going to fall while I try to get the hardware set up. Alright, so the way this works, kind of went over this in my last video. These threaded inserts go in the hole. And we turn them so they're right in the right position. And then with a little luck, everything will line up. Like I said, with a little luck. There we go. Now I can take this clamp off. And that gave me a pretty nice tight joint right there. The weight is carried by the whole framework, so it's not, these aren't load bearing, so to speak. It's just holding the sides together. The corner joints are where the strength really is. What I did was, before bringing the plywood up here, I drilled pocket holes underneath so that in the plywood, so the plywood will be attached to the solid oak sides with pocket screws all the way around. All right, this side went together pretty easily. Tighten these up. Now this side's up against the wall, so it's not as critical, but it is going to hold it together nicely. And in a minute I will put the walnut plugs in covering those screws, and we'll be in good shape. Now I have to, I'm going to have to pivot this whole assembly off the top of the cabinet in order to attach the back piece. The easiest way for me to get to this back panel is going to be to actually get up on it. So I thought I'd better film that just in case something goes horribly wrong. There'll be a record of what happened to me. So here goes nothing. Okay. So this is going to go here like this. If I'd had a helper, I could have assembled this whole thing down on the floor, but I don't have a helper, so it is what it is. This is going to be my helper right here. Now these screws on the back I didn't even countersink because they're not going to show. They're going to be up against the wall, and I didn't want to sacrifice any integrity of the wood. Figured I would leave it as thick as I could, and no one will ever know. If we ever move it into a different position, then I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But I do not foresee having to move this until we leave this house. I'm going to try to get a different angle here. See if you can see this gap close up. You just can't really see it at that angle, but closed it up tight. One more. There we go. Oh, that's some cross-threading it now. Just got tight. Now if you get these barrel bolts in here and you're in a position like this where you can't tip it out and you decide you want to pull that out and make sure it's okay, I want to make sure I didn't cross-thread it. I just have a strong refrigerator magnet and it'll pull it right out. Now it's a good thing I checked that, because in that case it was actually the screw that was cross-threaded at the end. So I just grabbed a different screw and we should be in good shape. I believe these barrel bolts are of a harder steel than the screws, just plain steel screws, so that if either one of them is going to get screwed up, it's going to be the cheap one. Of course, as Murphy's Law would have it, I had exactly the number of these screws that I needed. I had some shorter ones, but they won't reach. But I was able to clean up the thread. This is the one that was cross-threaded on the end. So we'll see if Murphy's going to smile on us today. I guess the horse is going to have to be hung a little higher. Alright, all that's left to do is put the plugs in to cover these screws. I did number them. If I can read them. Pencil on walnut, kind of hard to read. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 4. That's a 5. This must be a 2. We're going to find out. I actually want to align the grain opposite to the grain of the oak, because First of all, I believe it looks better. But second of all, I think there's some chance of splitting with wood movement if those plugs expand. We don't want to split this out on the end of the yoke. Not bad. All right, there's number one. It's not bad. So if we take a step back, this is the finished product. First piece of furniture I've ever started and finished once I build the ladder. I always got to leave one little detail undone. All right, here it is. The first loft bed is done, other than a ladder. I borrowed this ladder from our camper. It's really classy 2x4 ladder, but it happened to be the exact right height. So I'm going to make some temporary brackets so we can use that until I build a new ladder. So I have one happy daughter, and we'll worry about the second one next.